Three.
Gamer Dan.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey!
back to back at it. Thank you so much for your time and your valued insights, beloved by the viewers and me in particular.
Yeah,
So,
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be with you here with all you lovely people talking away. Been a little bit ill, down in the weather. It didn't happen often, but now nature caught me and kicked my ass around. But honestly, I spent the last 2 days in bed sweating out a nasty fever. But it gave me 2 solid days of sleeping and playing with my freaking new best toy. I gotta say, the
bloody hell.
best, seriously, the best emulation device on the market at the moment. Everything it's low price. If you can afford yourself a Steam Deck, get yourself a Steam Deck, obviously. But if you want a really good quality, perfectly quality feeling, just impressive handheld, the MatMadik 35XS SP. This thing is a freaking game changer. Seriously, crowned champion. I cannot recommend it enough. It's literally, I had 2 days of sickness, but I made myself wake up and turn over and play some more on this.
Oh my God, mate! Tell me, oh my gosh, I was just about to go on the mopey side of the being under the weather with nature, considering I'm in Okinawa and it's been torrential downpour battering day after day here with thunder, freaking out with the missus. But thankfully, yeah, I'm a tough one. But just walking around in the wet, walking with water filling my shoes, it's just ridiculous. But just seeing that game there put a big smile on my face. Tell me, Gamer Dan, can you connect that to a computer?
Yes. I've been
Oh.
working slowly but surely because when you get it, it comes with the standard OS and a whole library of games. Yeah, no, a lot of simpler titles, basic ones. Not some of the bigger names, you'd have to get them your own. I'm not advocating for how you get your ROMs. That's entirely within your own space. I get them legitimately. But I have been playing around with the OS and tweaking it and building my library up. I got myself a 128 gig micro SD, and I've just been filling it with games. And now I flip this thing open, and I'm playing Conquest Bad Fur Day on the N64. They go, nah, you know what? I'll play, a Castlevania on the DS. You know what? I'm playing Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation 1. Holy freak! But
Oh
then,
my God.
if I've only got 5 minutes, it's Crazy Taxi on Dreamcast.
God, that.
And
Oh,
it plays like a dream. I'm going to say there are lots of great OSs being brought out because this is so popular and so many people are jumping on. There's already a number of different OSs. I would recommend going to Retro Game Core's website, YouTube channel. He does a good retrospective of all the different OSs and what you're looking for. I stuck with the standard OS specifically because it has an auto sleep function. When I close the screen,
mm.
it sleeps the game. It puts the console into sleep mode, and it greatly extends the battery. And that's also why I bought this. I also, as of you long-time viewers, we love you. And no, I have a Miu Mini. That was my primary little portable gaming console. The Miu Mini's slightly better machine, but well, it was the better of the two. The Ambernick and the Miu Mini, the Miu was the better. But now this just trumps it.
Mm.
It's got a better battery and better stats. It plays more games more comfortably and it lasts longer. It's a no-brainer at this point.
Jeez Louise, mate. Last thing to say is, I really hope that I can somehow find a hacky way to capture card that thing. That'd be so cool.
Oh, well, funny enough, unlike the Miu and other handhelds, this one's got a HDMI out and wireless and Bluetooth, so I can hook this to my TV and play on a wireless controller. Though FYI, I tried that and the wireless controller's not great.
Ow. Thanks for
Though
letting
I
me know.
can just plug this into my TV and then play games on the thing on the TV, and that is
Yeah, it's like it feels
surreal.
like
It's
yeah,
fun, but it's like weird.
it feels like the Super Game Boy. Look
Yeah,
at
really does. It is like a souped up version of what was available at the time, and this is going to be the gold standard for a fair while. Seriously, if you have the opportunity, this is a must. For those who travel, for those who want to pick up and play regularly, I really, really recommend it. It's reasonably priced for what you're getting. It's, in Japan it's 1300 yen.
Ah,
So it's
wow, really?
yeah, 1300 yen for one of these. Comes with a 64 gig SD card, but there are two. You can see here there are two SD cards, one for the operating system and one for extra. You can just use one card for the operating system and ROMs, and then you want to add more ROMs, you go right ahead. I
What?
added more ROMs. You've got
Of
your
course.
charger and HDMI. You've got your four shoulder buttons to the back, uh, volume on one side, power and sleep on the other, and it's just so comfortable.
Damn, 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 damn. I gotta get a capture card. Okay, I'm gonna cook that thing up and share the love with the audience. I mean, hopefully we both can. But 1300, that's great.
It's fantastic. I say for the low end of the emulation market, it is new gold standard. I think above this, you're looking at a couple hundred. You're looking at an Odin 2, which is GameCube, PlayStation 2 level quality. You're playing those games, you're pushing a little higher. But then you beyond that, you're looking at a full hybrid machine, which is a Steam Deck or something of the like. That's just modern gaming.
Mm, damn. All right, that's on the list, man. If it's 1300, and you can do all that. That's absurd.
I say
Nintendo probably just kicking
it's a
themselves.
chunk of change. Nintendo have been on a bit of a rampage recently, trying to remove a lot of ROM websites because they're cracking down on it, which is a damn shame because they don't release their freaking library. They are sitting on a dragon's hoard. It's funny. Earlier, before we started recording, we were having a little chat about what was going on in gaming, and you mentioned that
Yeah.
Nintendo were like the Disney of video games, and I think that's a really apt analogy because they're not only seen as more family friendly, but they've also got a long pedigree of recurring funny characters, and they are jealously, aggressively holding on to all their IP within the vault. So much is locked away in the Disney vault that no one can access, not legally anyway.
Yeah, until Steamboat Willie says, "All right, that's it. You can have that at least." I don't want it. Anyway, maybe
Well,
later.
I subscribe to the conspiracy theory, and I know it's a conspiracy theory, but I do think that they introduced the Steamboat Willie image to the Disney Animation brand logo about 5, 7 years ago, meaning that when you watch contemporary Disney animation, you get the picture of Steamboat Willie. I think that was a trademarking thing. That if you try and use Steamboat Willie, even though he's legally in the public domain, they can also say, "Well, you're infringing on our trademark."
Whoa, 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 whoa! You think they're trying to trap people?
I
Oh man.
I think that I wouldn't put it past them. But Nintendo have been aggressively litigious and aggressively protective of their brands, and their brand is Mickey. So anyone taking a shot at Mickey is going to have to contend with Nintendo, Disney.
Oh, you're right. In that case, I'm going to stay away. But no.
I hope someone takes a crack at it and tries to use Steamboat Willie in a public way, just to see how it would play out.
Yeah, yeah. One thing. I really, I really, I, I've got an issue with malicious prosecution, or malicious prosecution, but people who, malicious, who, sorry, I'm trying to catch this mosquito. Sorry,
You're in a
I got
tropical island, dude. They're everywhere.
yeah, a band is just trying to get by. I forget it. Anyway, forget it. Mickey. Yeah. People who it's like Pharrell Williams. Sorry, we're gonna get to the game in a second, but Pharrell Williams, he made this song called Happy. You love that song? Yeah. Apparently, he got
Yeah,
sued
now
for
it's in my
smearing
head. Thank you.
It's an earworm that I know. Oh my god! And
I think it's a great song. It's
yeah,
crazy popular.
I've been playing this dance in one of my places I teach with these kids. They Just Dance Switch game. We've been doing the Happy Dance for a while. It's
Oh,
really
that's nice.
it's super. That means that, like Pharrell Williams, I think it's one of an old associate of mine. You may know the channel, Pentakis, but anyway, he mentioned to me that Pharrell got sued to smithereens by I think it's a Marvin Gaye family or something. Said that the Happy song said that he took some a part of that song, and it was but when you listen to the actual song, it's hardly anything like it. Now Pharrell, he has a point of not suing people for making things that sound like his songs. He says, "I don't believe in that kind of stuff." But instead, so I'm thinking for a guy with such good karma, well, supposedly, it's really ironic and not fair for him to just be sued. And I think people who do that, you don't need to sue Pharrell for that song, you losers, right? Right. So they kind of deserve, in my opinion, people who do that, I believe they should be countersued hard. So if they really
Yeah.
start messing around like that, I feel.
It's a tricky one with the arts because nothing comes out of its own self. No one's a bubble. No one's an island. We all draw inspiration from the songs that came before us. And with music, there are only so many ways you can put the notes together. You know, there's only so many beats you can make. You have to create a new take on something, a new version. So it's not unrealistic. I mean, throughout history, even modern history is resplendent with examples of celebrities or musicians making a popular song and someone going, "Hey, that sounds really like this," and it may be going litigious. The theme to the Thor 3 love Ragnarok MCU movie Thor Ragnarok, his theme song is essentially the immigrant song. It's just almost one for one, but it's legally distinct enough to be its own piece of music. Hell, Ice Baby, what was his name? Vanilla Ice. He supposedly ripped off a Queen song.
You're under pressure.
Under pressure, exactly.
Under pressure.
But
Yeah.
it's difficult because, at what point is it different? Didn't Ed Sheeran get pulled apart a number of times? But it's the same with video games. There was an attempt to trademark certain aspects of games early on in video gaming history. Someone made a fighting game not long after Street Fighter 2 came out. And they said, "Hey, the expression of the art is its own thing. It is art. You can't trademark being able to do certain things. You can trademark a character, like Ryu is a character, but you can't trademark a Japanese wandering martial artist."
Exactly.
Yeah, like a Hadoken is a technique from Street Fighter, but throwing a fireball,
it's certainly not.
No, that's not yours. Wizards have been doing that for years. So,
yeah, mate.
The mechanics or the general expression of art cannot be trademarked because it's universal. It's general expression. Just characters or specificities can be trademarked. But then we've had problems. Capcom years in the 90s. Capcom trademarked the ability to play a game in a loading sequence.
Was that them? Was it Namco?
That was it. Yeah, they released a game where when the game was loading, it brought up a mini game to let you just play a little thing while the game was loading the actual software. But they trademarked that, and it meant that for decades we have been sitting here waiting for the freaking loading screen when we could have been doing something. I think one of the first games that really got around the trademark was Bayonetta. Because it wasn't a game, it was a training level. When the game is loading, it gives you a blank stage where you can practice the combos. It's a spectacle fighter game, you need the fast combinations, fighting lots of enemies. So it's not a mini game, which would be trademarked, but it is an action. It is an involving thing you can do while the game is loading. And I gotta say, I appreciated it. I appreciated to be able to do something while the game was loading, especially with these big games.
Dude, I tell you,
right?
This topic has been covered so extensively, and I love reading into it. Yeah, it's funny. It's John Oliver. I remember once he did an episode about people making
slap suits
IPs just so they can sue people for accidentally infringing on it. And
you're talking about what's it called? Patent trolls.
Yeah. Is that you got those people there, and then of course people Guru Larry's covered everything that you mentioned. the loading game things. And there's that guy who made Edge, who copyrighted the word Edge. Remember that?
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that? Is that guy's a joke? I said, what are you doing? He must want somebody to run up on him and well, of course,
yeah.
he'd sue them for that too. But but
And then you get people in different countries who take advantage of copyright law. I'm a big fan of the SCP Foundation. The kind of those of you who don't know, just a quick tutorial. SCP stands for Secure, Contain, and Protect. It's an online, fan-created, creative writing experiment. What they do is they write horror stories or funny stories or thriller stories, but through in the format of a report on behalf of an organization. It is this clandestine secret organization that's containing phenomena and crazy shit, crazy bleep, that's beneath the public perception. They hide all the crazy monsters that truly exist from public perception, and then people started writing and writing and writing, adding to this, and it's become this enormously popular resource. Anyone anywhere can write an SCP. All you have to do is write an SCP, submit it to the editors. They'll check the formatting, check the writing. If it cuts the mustard, they add it to the log. So it went from a few hundred to thousands upon thousands of these really incredibly written horror, joyful, funny stories, really stretching the mind. And I thoroughly recommend you check it out. But because of its popularity, it's spun off into games, into TV shows, into lots of other franchises. People have been using it to draw from inspiration. And some in Russia try to trademark the name SCP and take ownership and financial rights over a publicly traded term. The SCP Foundation, the guys who set it up, said, hey, it's open for anyone to use. We only ask, you can make anything you want using SCP. We only ask that you credit the people who give the original inspiration, and you credit the website so that people can go to us and continue to share. But this guy in Russia tried to trademark it, meaning that anyone who was selling SCP products in Russia, he would take a cut. And yeah, MatPat from Film Theory did a video on it and talked about how the legal system and the copyright system is so rife, so vulnerable to abuse, especially when you start going internationally. Most countries, it's the honor system. Like, hey, we'll honor your IPs and your trademarks if you honor ours. But if someone breaks those rules, there's very little actual recourse you can do.
That's a topic we're gonna go into next time, mate. And by the
Yeah.
way, is that big cheese you're talking about in Russia?
I
Sorry,
don't know. I've forgotten the Russian guy's name. I just remember the situation. I think it has been resolved, but it was this frustrating moment where what was a free and open community had to band together and drum up money to fight the legality of this. Like, hey, you're trying to claim ownership, and you're going to cut an entire part of the world off of our work because you're an asshole.
My God.
Damn
Thanks for bringing
shame.
this up, people. We discuss this stuff. This is why we are pop culture analysis. Oh, by the way, eventually I'm gonna start doing some stuff on. I have two channels set up, but it's in the works to be a pop culture analysis here, MatMadik here. But we also have game culture analysis, GCA, which this belongs to too many people. But while we're setting up, we're just gonna do it temporarily here. We'll start to back up there, and also we're gonna do more streaming there, of course. So it'll be easier to manage with different audiences. Kind of wondering when they're going to get more different kind of topics, but so for those watching, it's split up eventually, and we'll be there, and we'll continue in the GCA eventually. All right, but for that matter,
Well, moving on, as I say, with the housekeeping sorted, when I get the ability to share screens, hint, hint, like if the host can allow screen sharing, we can bring up what we're going to do is we're talking about the upcoming Nintendo Direct. We're going to watch a quick video talking about a potential leaked date of the Nintendo Direct and also the implications of this Direct, because we've only had smaller showcases this year. We're overdue for a big show, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited because it's apparently going to be only a few days away, but
Yeah.
I kind of have my hopes pinned on there being something big. I'll tell you why momentarily.
Game of Done. By the way, I also sent you a message earlier, not just the most recent one, but I think before then, it said I think I sent a link about the direct that you're talking about, or not the or a direct that did we cover it last week? I'm not too sure. Just looking through it at the moment, scouring through. When I catch it, I'll just drop it in a
Okay.
DM. Yeah, is it this one? Indie World Showcase. No, we did that, didn't we? Yeah, that's Indie World
Yes.
Showcase. Don't worry,
Yeah.
that was it. I never mind.
I think
So
we did
this,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
this
the
is
individual because we watched all the videos with the professor.
yeah, yeah, it's all there. So you can check it out, people, if you want to see. Wait, hold on. Nintendo Direct, but yeah, okay. So let's just do the latest one I sent you.
Right.
Sorry, yeah, I misunderstood you earlier when you said the link. I thought you were talking about share screen of a game, but
No, no, no. Okay. So let's watch.
oh, I think
Uh,
you zoomed in full screen. Yeah, all right, people, we're ready to rumble. Take that,
let's do
Mr.
it.
Rumble guy.
Let's do this thing.
Move that cursor out the way. Yeah.
Apparently, the upcoming Nintendo Direct for June has just leaked. Yes, and we might actually have an exact date as to when we can expect this thing, because it looks like it was actually due to Among Us. Yeah, Among Us was actually the culprit here, and let me explain to you why. Apparently, the date was leaked to be June 18th, which is a week from today, the next Tuesday, because an Among Us trailer launched too early and they hurry up and took it down. Now, this has definitely happened before with other gaming companies, and I think even Fortnite did it once where something like that happened, so it kind of already leaked that there's some type of presentation or something for Nintendo coming the following Tuesday on the 18th. Now, what's also interesting is that Switch Online maintenance is actually scheduled for that day too, because sometimes there's like shadow game drops and different things that could happen. Maybe Nintendo announces some firmware updates for the Switch or something. Hey, maybe themes come. I don't know, but yeah, it's starting to all come together, and this makes a lot of sense to me. But
I see that passes a smell check for me. I have seen lots of leaks occur in the video game industry, but it's never from a company. It's always through third parties. It's always through affiliates. They game information. They send it to the stores, and the store leaks it. Or it's through the manufacturers that people get manufacturing information. It's never Nintendo. It's always someone affiliated. And hell, I could see this. Between the online maintenance occurring just the day before, and then bam, the video dropping. They're like, "Hey, we're dropping this thing today."
Mm.
That stands to reason.
All right. I dig it. I dig it. I see what you're saying.
It's nice. I do appreciate it. I think it's really a kind gesture when you get these big shows, because we used to have E3, didn't we? E3 was that once a year all the companies would come together and they would put on a big song and dance and show us everything, all the new consoles, the new games, and what we had to look forward to. And yeah, we got a few trailers throughout the year. We got secrets and reveals in magazines. Of course, those of you with grey hair will know this was before the internet. Those dark days.
Oh,
But
funny you
then
say that.
we got access to immediate information. We could access information instantaneously, and then now companies have been experimenting with how to introduce games on their own. And Nintendo, groundbreaking as they are, were one of the first to shirk E3, just go, hey, we're just going to do our own thing. They do the Nintendo Treehouse.
Uh, yeah.
And after that, all the other companies joined in.
So yeah, we just wanna. Yeah, it's a bit. It's kind of funny actually. I guess E3. You think they're kicking themselves?
I think it's a just cause. The company behind E3 is the Electronic Entertainment Security Board, or something like that. It's a stupid acronym. They're the guys the NRSB,
Ah,
they're the ones who do the game rating system. And they only came about as a reaction to public outcry in the 90s violent video games and oh, they're ruining the youth. So the industry decided to self-regulate, and they established a rating system and a board that would do that. And then that board became in charge of E3. They would be the ones to regulate the games, but also to promote the games, to ensure, working with gaming companies and regulators. And for a while, things were good, but then they started really screwing people over. The company started acting poorly, and in the last couple of years, before E3 became superfluous, they doxed a bunch of people. They lost a bunch of information. They revealed private names, addresses, phone numbers to the public.
What?
There's a massive data leaks of notable game developers. And Lord only knows this was still back in the days when if a publishing house did some shady business practice, which they all want to do, the gamers would attack the game developers because we couldn't get the publishers. We couldn't take our ire out on them. So overzealous fans would attack game developers. Well, here's the NRSP giving out freaking developers information. Terrible.
Wow. It reminds me of the outcry against Gertzman. If you remember that guy. F you, Gertzman.
Terrible.
So yeah, it's just don't shoot the messenger. But my God, it's it's just the unfortunate nature of how's it? This is a pop culture. This whole thing of canceling people.
I think it's fandom. I think it's if you have a bunch of people who put so much stock in something, it becomes a part of their identity. They take it really serious. It's like you see religious folk or sports fans. Hey, you see the same thing from football fans, soccer fans, baseball fans. There's always a subset of them who are a little bit crazy. They take it way too serious. It's not a sport; it's a way of life for them. And video gaming is a big part of our lives, So I can see how people would get frustrated, but I do think that if they're frustrated with the company, pick your targets better. Don't bully the developers. They're not the ones making the managerial decisions. They're the ones making the games.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for ignoring, or let's just say when people complain like that and come across as just kooky, they drive people to put their fingers in their ears against them, whether they're making a valid point or not. So it's
doubling down.
Yeah, I don't care if what you're saying is right. Your rudeness just makes me say that I don't want anything to do with you. So that culture spoils it for a lot of people.
It's so frustrating when people use that as an excuse not to hear an argument. But you're too rude. Your argument is invalid because you are a rude person. It's always passionate. They're going to fight for their point, but it doesn't make their argument any less.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's important to be the media is right in the middle and say, I'm going to address the actual concern, but I'm going to disregard the obsessive fanatic who wants to attack me, who is just a messenger. It's like Top Hat Gaming Man. I love the guy, but I'm sure he's changed his views since I saw his video. He said he's not going to buy any more SNK titles because the company got bought by somebody who is a dictator in an Middle Eastern nation. And I'm thinking it's not SNK's fault it's not the developers' fault who want to just make the game and care about the law. So if you want to do that, that's on you. Now everybody has their thing. Like Jackie, you mentioned last week about a company you didn't want to support, or like I love Jackie Chan movies, but when the whole Hong Kong thing kicked off, I felt like I want to do something to. Now again, I may have misplaced my actions, but I didn't want to. I couldn't remember to watch a Jackie Chan movie when he was supporting CCP. Now, I'm not against anybody's views or anything. Just saying this what I did. And then when it came to even Will Smith after he slapped Chris Rock, in my opinion. By the way, if anyone's seen on my channel, I think that whole thing was staged. I know you call me conspiracy theorist, but I got a YouTube short I made. That scene that he did is exactly the same thing from a movie called Darman, where there's a comedian who says a rude joke. As somebody gets up on the stage, slaps someone in the face, gets back in their seat. Everybody's not pressing charges, and the man says, "See my wife's name out your mouth." I said, "Huh?" Will Smith. All right, Hollywood is pulling off also, and that's my view. But be it staged or not,
Maybe. Maybe.
I think I don't rock with Will Smith anymore. That being said, I can watch his old movies. I won't erase, try and be an idiot and try and say, oh, Fresh Prince doesn't exist anymore. I don't cancel people. I don't believe in that. Just unsubscribe. That's my thing. They don't cancel, just unsubscribe. So he makes Bad Boys 4. For the record, everybody, I didn't see Anti-Emancipation. I'm not going to watch Bad Boys 4. Nothing wrong with Will Smith. If you enjoy the movie, enjoy it. But I'm just
I think
gonna
he's a fantastic actor. He's one of the best in
Yeah.
the generation. He's a very, very good actor.
Absolutely.
His rap career, but I think he's funny. He's sharp. He's clever. He's very great actor. I mean, his Ali biopic.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
man, he was great in that.
Absolutely.
And he's a great actor. He's done some stupid things, true, but I don't. I do try to separate the art and the artist, but again, it's a fine line. I think it's a personal line. How far do you want to object to a company on the grounds of those who have no power? Do you berate the developers for management's decisions? Do you, cancel someone because of something that they had no control over?
Yeah.
I don't think that cancelling is inherently a bad thing, but I do think it is a tool that is far too overused.
Yeah.
It's like people calling someone a Nazi. I really object to that. I find that I find it so frustrating because that is a very specific word for a very specific kind of person. If you're not an actual Nazi, you can't use that word. You call them a fascist because that could be anything. It's a broad umbrella.
Exactly.
It's every jacuzzi is a hot tub, but not every hot tub is a jacuzzi. And every Nazi is a fascist, but not every fascist is a Nazi.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
But
That's
it would, I think that we have to pick and choose our targets better.
Yeah. Exactly.
I get people get frustrated, and I get that social media and modern culture, it's kind of weaponized outrage to keep attention, and then they get paid by attention. The more clicks, the more time you're scrolling, and doom scrolling as it's now called, the more money they make. So they want to get you to be angry. It doesn't discount the things that are being shown. What's being shown could be genuinely outrageous. It could be quite frustrating. There could be some genuine societal issues. But I do think that the way it's being portrayed is kind of manipulative. And then we get down to this shooting the messenger argument. Is what's being shown any worse or better or worse because how we're being told is not an appropriate way to discuss it? If someone's being rude but the argument is valid, do you discount the argument?
Oh, right. Of course not. Yeah. Exactly. I love that.
So
maturity,
I think that we should be able to talk about these things, but without the outrage. I would like to be able to talk about some of these topics, but without the outrage. Just everyone just take a moment, have a cigarette break, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah.
Get a cup of tea, breathe, collect your thoughts, and let's talk instead of shouting. I'm kind of sick of the shouting.
Yeah, it's like you said, definitely people have been made tools out of, and that's why I don't take issue with anybody who is particularly extreme, because I used to be not extreme, but I used to be very into a certain viewpoint before, to the point where I couldn't imagine
Set
seeing things
in
from
that
another
viewpoint.
perspective. And I'm like, with blinkers on and all that stuff, and then I started to see things. I started to broaden my perspective, and I understand the value of both sides, and the idea of people being pitted against each other, just to make some money, or if at the very least. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you're trying to fight for a cause, or you feel like you're fighting for a cause, and someone's profiting off of you. You are paycheck to someone.
Yeah, exactly. When I see that, so therefore, as you said, I don't discount the argument, and I'm always thinking to myself, they say some people say the whole thing, hate the sin and not the sin. I don't want to use that religious terminology, but it's the whole idea of can you be objective, just to pick things apart? And my take in conclusion, sorry, we went this whole tangent about cancel culture, but my whole thing is, I don't believe in canceling. I believe in unsubscribing. I don't like you do anymore, so I'm just not going to. I'm not necessarily a hard boycott necessarily, but I'm not interested. But I'm not going to discount, maybe you don't like, maybe you like J.K. Rowling or whatnot, but going in the future. But I can't say that Harry Potter is not a great book or anything, or I can't deny
It's
that.
it's the difference between personal responsibility and mob justice. If you unsubscribe, that's you making a decision, and if you don't support that person, but you're not going to jump on the bandwagon and screw someone over.
Yeah, that's my thing. Exactly.
I
So
think for the
people,
most part, for the most part, that's the right position. If someone's saying something you don't like, don't listen. There's a lot of people saying a lot of things I don't
exactly.
like, so I just don't listen to them.
You said it,
I'm not going
mate.
to tell them to stop.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
But yes, we
Well,
got off a
that's
tangent.
a
That's
little,
nice. It's a nice talk.
tangent.
I like, yeah, but it was a good talk. This is a good topic. I like bringing up things that I feel like are valid. They are worth talking about. But
Validity?
yeah, we're talking about.
Yeah, on we go.
Well, we're here for Nintendo. We're here for Nintendo.
Next
Yeah,
Tuesday,
that's what.
that is a weird date for sure because
Oh, no.
normally we get
Here you go,
Nintendo
I can hear him.
Directs on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Now, let me tell you why this isn't all that strange. It's because when Nintendo used to be part of E3 and E3 was a thing, they would always have their E3 presentations after everybody has gone on the next available Tuesday. It was always on a Tuesday, so that way they could have Treehouse events on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Even though E3 is not a thing, we're still getting events from even Sony just had one, Microsoft had one, Ubisoft, everybody's having their events still. There was even Summer Game Fest, so just because there's not an official E3 doesn't mean there's no gaming announcements. And Nintendo was definitely probably just waiting for everybody to go and have their turn. Ubisoft actually just had their event yesterday, so Nintendo's probably like, nope, want our own week, a whole week dedicated to us and our Nintendo Direct, so all of the eyes.
Sorry, is it?
That's how Nintendo is. They've always been like this, and it makes the most sense why we haven't had a Direct yet so far. And next week really just makes sense on paper. The following week, Luigi's Mansion 2 comes out. They probably don't want to do anything along that. They still could. I just don't think they will. Next week just kind of makes the most sense out of all the weeks. Not to toot my own horn, even though technically I am. I did kind of say, I had a really good feeling that it wasn't going to happen until next week, because another thing, we haven't really heard any leaks or, big information from insiders. For instance, Pyoro has been extremely quiet, which led me to believe there definitely isn't any event, because Pyoro normally gives out some small information the days leading up to a Nintendo Direct, and sometimes even the weekend before that Nintendo Direct, and we really haven't heard anything. So
I think that's fair. Before bigger directs, you get some leakers, some little tidbits of what's coming out. I try to avoid it. I don't like spoilers. I like to watch the direct, and then I go to all the videos. Who guessed it? Who got it right? Who got it wrong? That's fun. But
true.
he did bring up a point. Before E3 was a thing, it was a place everyone came and collaboratively revealed everything. It was a great time of the year because all the trailers dropped, so you had tons to keep an eye on. The new tech, the new games, the new titles. But now everyone's got their own demonstration, and we've got not just console manufacturers, but we've got private companies. We've got the Bethesda, we've got Ubisoft, we've got other organizations all with their own. And I wonder if it will dilute the pool.
Yeah, what do you think, Gamer Dan? Do you think they'll bring back E3?
E3, last time I heard, before E3, I think it's just dead at this point. But it was trying to move into more of an influencer space, because the companies weren't willing to foot the bill. They had to put money down to be there. It was an exhibition hall, so people would come along and they would check it out. But it was only for industry insiders, major journalists and the industry. They could go along and see what the other competition were doing, and then they announced to the media, which then disseminated that information out, what was coming. New consoles always had an E3 release, an E3 announcement. Sorry, but I don't mind that it's companies now, but now there are so many. Maybe I'm just a little bit nervous. This year, it feels like Xbox has just crushed it. The Xbox announcement was just crazy good. Big titles, really, hitting things out the park. So big names, and it felt like, all the poor business, well, it's not poor, it's successful, but all the kind of dirty business practices buying out the competition.
Monopoly, man.
It's beginning to reap rewards. You know, we saw the new announcement for World of Warcraft on an Xbox video. Oh yeah, they own WoW now. Then new, they bought Rare back in the day, but after the N64, Microsoft bought Rare and basically squeezed them to the point of desperation. Now but they're releasing Perfect Dark, the next Perfect Dark game. It's like a soft reboot, and I loved Perfect Dark. That was a great game. Yeah, it was a pretty good game, but by the guys who did GoldenEye. And Fable. That's a classic series coming back, and the trailer, no gameplay, mind you, but it looks great. Really fits that funny, sharp British humor tone with light and dark options. The whole point of that was you could be the hero you choose. You could be the good guy or the bad guy. Yeah, and the trailer leans into that hard. It's good.
That sounds fantastic, dude, man. And I guess maybe I gotta let me see. I think I'm here till 11. 11. So I'd love to have a look at the Xbox. I think. Do you think we could stick it on the end or?
Honestly, I think let me just let's wrap this Nintendo thing off with a
Yeah.
bow, and then we'll watch a little bit of the Xbox one.
Yeah, I'd love to describing it.
I'm crazy excited because we've had some big. This year's been a really good year for announcements. We've got some really big titles coming out. We've had some really great new games showing off. Last year we got a bunch of smaller titles that have been released and to some critical acclaim. Hell, a video game Donkey, who's a famous YouTuber, he stepped into video game publishing, and his first game, crazy successful. It's really popular. Hell, the moment it's on sale, I'm picking it up too. And the video game is diversifying. We're seeing big companies kind of making un-gamer or un-consumer like practices, and so smaller companies are beginning to take root. They're beginning to spread out, and big companies are suffering. Hence why we're getting a lot of firing, a lot of redundancies, and a lot of people being let go, which is just people's livelihoods, But I think that I want this Nintendo Direct to be good. I want it to be good because I want them to be able to show a strong face, a strong stance against these great presentations by other companies. Also, and this is the big one, we know that there is a new console on the way. Nintendo has already revealed it. They haven't told us anything about it, but they've acknowledged it exists. They've said that we will get information within the fiscal year, which is, February next year. It's going to be by February next year. I reckon it's going to be the new year. It's going to be after Christmas. They want to get the Christmas numbers as high as possible. But that might mean this is the last Direct aimed at the Switch. This could be the swan song. The last hurrah, this could be the Switch putting on its hat and riding off into the sunset. So I want it to go down swinging. I want it to go down with at least one big title.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a cross-platform one. I don't care if they're gonna, reveal the title now and it turns out it's also a launch title, like Breath of the Wild was.
Yeah.
It could be, but if it's so good it's a system seller for the next console, it's going to be a good game to encourage people to get themselves a Switch. And oh God, if it could just push and get a few more sales, a few million more Switches sold, just to get that number one console title. Just even with PlayStation pushing the goalpost back, if they can just get it and just show that yes, this is what we want for console gaming. We don't want we don't want a home entertainment unit that plays music and TV and all that jazz. No, we want something that is designed to play games.
I root for Nintendo for that same reason, man. It's a good game. And funny, one thing we mentioned it at the beginning, or maybe no, I think we mentioned it off camera. I said, ironically, at least as far as the name is concerned, Nintendo started the whole thing of not directly calling itself a game company by calling it the NES like a bit like I accused Sega, not Sega, Sega. This is a game company called Service Games, but it's Sony and Xbox saying that, well, we're not gaming machines, we're convergence technology device developers and or manufacturers, and I said Nintendo's a game company, but then again they came out with the NES title, but as you said, that's not due to not being a games company, which
Yeah,
is what they
we were
primarily
talking
want
about
to
this earlier. I think it's as I said, I think it's a false equivalency because Nintendo hit the market, especially the international market, not long after the video game crash. At which point, they had a different business model. Every company had their own machine with their own games. Some of them had their own wildly different ways of playing. If you go look at some of the older video game nerd videos, you can see some of these older machines with their different ways of playing. And people were paying full price for really basic games. And if you got a bad machine, what are you going to do? You just can't play the popular titles. So people were paying more and more, and it just imploded. The quality wasn't there, the quantity was. People were paying way too much for too little, and the consumer trust was eroded. People didn't trust that this was a worthwhile investment. It wasn't worth the money. Which, let's be honest, it wasn't. The people were asking for hundreds of dollars for pre-Atari. Jesus. But along comes Nintendo, and they've got an entirely different business model. They are, hey, we will front the cost of the console. Just make games. They just tell all the companies, make a game that fits on this thing. We'll pay the cost of getting the machine made and into your hand, into the consumer's hands. All you need to do is make for us. And, it was a win-win for everyone. And it became the default. That's now the way we do video games. We have our console sellers, which make money off of the machines and their first-party titles. They have their exclusives, which sell consoles. But most companies make for the different machines. They make the game. They don't make the machine. During the the dark ages, the console wars, we had people producing entirely different games. Disney produced a whole mess of games, but two versions. One on Sega and one on Nintendo, because there was a divide and never twain shall meet. Now we've got multiplats. Now you can make a game and it just fit on most consoles.
It's interesting. But what's funny about that is that even though the console was, as you mentioned before, it seemed to not exist like they did before.
As it stands now, the only thing that's remnant is the exclusives.
Publisher wars. Oh, sorry. All right, but what about the publisher wars? Do you think that, as we're going to check out Xbox in a moment, do you feel that Xbox is like the very fact that they're trying to monopolize the market, even though their platform may not be exclusive to the games anymore? It's not, they're not fighting over the games so much, or they are, but not like
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell where things are going because Xbox has spent a lot of money. Microsoft has spent a lot of money bolstering themselves by buying up major companies, but they're not keeping these games exclusive. They're releasing these games on other consoles. And you're like, do you want to be a publisher or a console seller? Make up your mind. I mean, they are. It feels like they're trying to bank a lot on their Game Pass. Like a lot of the games that they've announced are going straight to Game Pass. So if you buy an Xbox and then pay the subscription service, and you get a whole mess of amazing titles straight from day one, and that feels like a great deal. But of course, it does mean that you don't own the games. You're just renting the game, and the only way you get to keep them is if you keep paying. And this is, anti-consumer of the highest order. When if I buy a game, it's my freaking game. I will mod it. I will ROM it. I will sell it if I choose. I can do whatever the hell I want with it. It's my product. But more and more companies are leaning into this whole, oh, well, you buy a license to use our game. Obscene hand gesture.
Dude, this is it. The future doesn't belong to the globalists. I guess this is what. Yeah, I feel very Fallout guy. That that meme, but the Fallout Shelter, the guy with the yellow hair.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And I tell you, mate, it's all about. It feels like communism versus capitalism, if you will. You got to be able to have something and actually have it as yours. Well, let's just see. Next year, I think that's going to play a big part in culture in many ways.
Well, it's going to be interesting. The next, we're coming to the end of the generations. Games are beginning to move on, but the companies are not making smart decisions. But we are, as I said, we are seeing good games come out of smaller companies, and if they can survive long enough, they can become big enough that stand on their own 2 feet. They won't get gobbled up by bigger companies. I mean, I'm a long time opponent of EA. I hate EA because they're a big fish. They go to small ponds, they eat up all the small fish, and then they just wring them out and destroy them. Terrible. Right, we're going to jump straight into we're going to watch some of the trailers, some of the more popular trailers from the latest Xbox showcase, because we're going to show off some of the better moves that they're making. They're releasing some good titles in the upcoming time, and I'm quite excited. Now, trigger warning, for warning, we're already watching full trailers. There's some violence and there's some blood. No sex, because let's be honest here, it is YouTube, it's not crazy. But a little bit of violence. So, hey ho, keep an eye out. Now,
and by the way, Game of that last thing before you mentioned, if you wouldn't mind, can I give you some creative license in terms of the title of the episode when you send it my way? Maybe if you can actually include the name of the video links, or even maybe drop it in the description. That'd be very handy because.
Will do.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. All right, when you're ready. Yeah, I'm just thinking about what the next console for the Switch could be. I went to a toy shop in Japan recently. I just started to look at these creative toys, like these cubes that you put things together. I'm just thinking, build your own console, build your own controller.
I still think you know what, my gut says that Nintendo are going to be making moves away from gaming. They are going to be looking more at interactivity and AR. I still feel that their future is going to be more Disney and less Nintendo, because they have, like, if they could get a whole franchise of Mario movies together, they've got the Link movie, a live action one. Like, whoa, like doesn't feel right. Just make it animated, for God's sake. But they've got a whole budget. They can get a decent thriller, like a Ridley Scott Alien-esque Metroid. That was what it was based on. But they also, because they have an in-house movie film studio now, which people keep going, oh, they're only making movies. Well, the studio was more into making AR events, having like holograms at events. Like, imagine you go to a place, you put on the glasses, and then Mario is running along the background, or you see him fighting Bowser, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. I can see them leaning into putting Mario and the Nintendo IPs into the real world, just like they have their own theme park now.
Professor Suzuka's not been there. She went to. Did she? Wait, she went to the. No,
she went to the Kyoto branch. She went to the Kyoto branch of Nintendo, because Nintendo has an office in Kyoto.
Yeah, she should go to the USJ. It's right around the corner. Well, not.
I know.
But when I go there, I'm gonna probably start crying, man, because my dreams. Ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to.
Just make sure you don't. Make sure you're careful, because it is busy.
Yep. My God, auntie. All right, sorry.
Right, jumping in.
Yeah.
I say, God, living the dream, Right, here we are.
Yeah, mate.
Okay, so first one, Gears of War is back. Now, Gears of War was a massive franchise. First three, great. 4 and 5, kind of taking the series in a different direction. It was going to be a full trilogy, 4, 5, 6. But here's the new game.
Wow, it's gorgeous. Immediately. Whoa. Oh my God, Gamer Dan.
That's good, isn't it?
What you're talking about. Oh my God, look at that. It's gorgeous. Oh my, Xbox, in my opinion, something's better than PlayStation graphically.
Oh yeah, it's a decent contender. I prefer PlayStation, but Xbox has always held its own.
Yeah, it's because PlayStation, as good as it is, it's got that kind of touch of plasticky kind of Japanese poppy thing. Everything's got a sheen on it. Like even the Street Fighter, the muscles are super shiny and like All right, but
Yeah,
they have this.
Microsoft is very much an American company.
Yeah, and
It's
you could feel
gritty.
it. Yeah, it feels like I'm watching a bloody movie in the cinema right now.
Mm.
It's gorgeous. Look at that. I mean, when I went to people, when I used to game test at a place called HP. I can't remember. Anyway, as you told me, and I shouldn't mention it, but I'm sure it doesn't matter. It's been years ago. Anyway, I was a. Oh my God, he's decapitated. Behind me. But what did I do? I used to game test at a game company where we test Microsoft games. It was very
Mm.
private, secret, protected with the IPs and whatnot, and couldn't talk it, blah blah blah. But when I went there, I was like, God damn, the graphics are just so unbelievable. It's like this is how real it is. I mean,
Mm.
I'm like, and I love Nintendo. When I took a break from gaming for a while in high school, and I was just into getting into music and rap and such more. A bit like DJ Slope. He took a hiatus from games to into being a DJ. Came back to games, similar to me. When I came back
Look at
to it, and I
this.
saw,
What can you see the
oh my
detail?
God, look at that's nuts. And before the record people, I did a game animation course for a little bit, and I came out, and just getting in a room. I just imagine what it's like making that game with the people, just talking about the ideas and the artists, and just saying, paint this picture, and just seeing this stuff flesh out. I mean, sorry, compared to even like Nintendo, which blew me away when I took a break from gaming and saw them again with the Wii, and it's just I just love how it's definitely like you said they've got their own identity, the realism. It's just as much as I prefer, I love Japan because the heart is there in Japan in me for me, and especially Nintendo, more than the West. I can't deny how gorgeous this thing looks. A bit like when Forza, the racing game,
Well,
came out. Remember?
I won't ever call myself a purist. I prefer Nintendo. I've played every Nintendo console, but I've also played every PlayStation console,
Mm,
bar like some of the peripherals. But I've also had an Xbox. I had an Xbox 360. I played the first three Gears of War. I loved them. They were
yeah,
great games. I didn't like the direction the series went after that, so I didn't play them. And at that point, I wasn't playing Xboxes. But I love the fact that they're going back to its roots. What we saw
yeah.
was, Phoenix and Dom from the first games. They are younger, and it is E-Day.
Wow.
It's the inciting day or emergence day in the lore, but it's the
Mm,
inciting incidents where the first enemies appeared. The games that you are fighting in the war in the first game. So I'm excited to go back. They realized that the direction it was going in wasn't good. People weren't interested. The fans didn't like it. So they went, screw it. Let's just go back to what worked. You
yeah,
know what?
that's it.
Own up to it. I respect that. Hey, it's like when
Me too.
Nintendo came out and said, "Hey, we've been working on Metroid Prime 4. We know you've been excited for it, but it hasn't worked out. We're going to start again with a different studio. We're sorry."
I mean, like,
People were
yeah,
furious,
it's
but you've
a,
got to admire the cojones. The guy stood up and said, "Hey, we're trying. It's not working. We're going to try again."
exactly
I
another simple
respect that.
comparison. Yeah, it's like Sonic 4. Remember that when they went back to the 2D Sonic? I mean, the
Yeah.
flat. It's just enough of the trying this and trying this out. Even though I'm quite the not say forgiving, but I'm quite the open-minded or happy-go-lucky gamer when it comes to
Mm.
Sonic because I just love to see games in different forms. But I understand when a game isn't doing it for you, so you can't deny that Sonic 4 did the trick. You
I
know.
think Sonic is a fantastic. The earlier Sonic games were a fantastic opponent to Mario because they took what Mario did and they built upon it. And Mario is a precision, slow-moving, careful platformer. You have absolute control. You can control yourself in air. You control how high and how fast the character moves, and the idea is to explore the level and weave around opponents. But Sonic was a physics engine.
Mm,
You could move faster than you could run if you used momentum. If you went downhill, you could actually get Sonic to move faster than he could ever run. And that was all skill. That wasn't slow, methodical. That was more arcade style skill building. The more you played, the better you got, the more you learned, and the better you got. And just keep playing, you get better and better, and then you have more fun. Sonic was a game that rewarded persistence. Mario was a game that rewarded exploration. They
mm,
both had their own feel, but I respect the both together. but Sonic doesn't work in 3D. I know some games have been good, and there are some good levels and some good games, but I don't think it works in 3D. I just fundamentally, I don't think Sonic is a 3D Sonic's never going to be as good as 2D. 2D Sonic is great because it has that level of replayability. You learn the level, you learn where to jump and how to move in order to get the flow state going. 3D, it's too much visual stimulation. There's too much coming at you too fast. You can't, get up to speed.
I can't do it. If I put the two together, the 2D definitely has the edge. That being said, I don't know. We're in the same generation, I guess. I just remember playing Sonic when I was a kid because most things kind of impress me. It's like some people. I love mania. Like when some people don't like that. When something's so popular, it's everywhere. Like there's Pokemon candy, Pokemon books, Pokemon songs, Pokemon this, Pokemon that. For me, I love. Oh, can you hear me? Want to hear me down?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I thought you frozen. Yeah. So I really wanted to give 3D Sonic a chance with Sonic Adventure, and I found a way to enjoy it. I just love the music and the fact it's different. But to me, I think the trick is that it's as I'm a guy, I'm a bit of an all-inclusive guy by nature. Like I love when, as long as something is not coming to necessarily replace it. If it's somebody saying, "All right, Sonic 2D is never coming back again. It's 3D only," then I'm like, then I'm just gonna play. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna come and take my old games away, so I can always enjoy those.
Well, you got to get wary of that. You have to be a little bit more wary about that with video games because we do have this problem with archival, where older games aren't given the reverence that they deserve. Big time names maybe, but most games aren't available. People can't go back and play older games without emulation.
Yes, exactly. We just talking about that,
because we move forward. It's always about the new thing. It's the new thing.
Especially
and
games.
On more than a few occasions, we've gone back and remade older games, and we've essentially superannuated them. That's a term by the Geek Critique. He coined the term superannuation. It's when a newer version of something so completely improves upon a previous version, it may as well just be the new standard. It's like Metroid and Super Metroid. Super Metroid destroyed it. Just it was so much better than the first. You would never go back to the first. And then to superannuate, to replace with a better version. And we have this, but sometimes it's important to go back and see the broken games. We want to see the cracks so we can see how they got to the best point. These games aren't just product. They are stepping stones in how we got to the tropes and the standards we have now. I think it's like learning from a mistake. It's important to go back and play bad games just as much as good games.
Exactly.
Occasionally I like a bad game. It's better than a dull game. Zero Punctuation, Zach Croshaw, he said that the worst games to play were the boring ones. A bad game is a game that is fundamentally broken, but was still released as a finished product. Like someone saw this and went, yes, this is cut to snuff. And you think, what were you smoking? Well, what was over your mind? But at least it's something you can talk about. You can learn from it. A boring game, a mundane, by the books, Ubisoft game. It's just the same thing again. And again, and again, and again. And you're just bored. You're just going through the motions. It's a game that you finish and you don't even acknowledge.
You're right. The last thing you mentioned, you brought something very profound there because I guess we both revealed that we both teach. That's one thing that we do, and I feel I never thought like that way. I used to, me when we started this whole journey together, I was saying that my view is that there's no such thing as a bad game in that you can learn to play it. But that was a very naive summation. Now I think about it. Now, just like with teaching. It's a bit like having a good class and a bad class. You could say, well, nothing is a bad class, you can still learn from it. No, actually, it's supposed to be made for a particular audience. If the audience doesn't get it, then and if they're lost, confused, then you've failed your mandate to actually provide them something that they can engage with. Similarly, bad games are in a similar vein are missing the mark. And sometimes, like you could say, it's just simply due to the fact that it's not been thoroughly vetted enough, and bug tested or whatever, what have you, and or it could just actually work, but somehow fail. It's not fail uh in terms of actually mechanics, but in terms of the Q&A, the quality assurance. If it's not making sense, then that's another way of being a broken game. It's ironic because we think it's just a matter of opinion, but actually the audience for this expects this, and they're not gonna get it. That's why I used to avoid critics. In fact, I probably don't really go crazy for them, but because I'm like I have my own opinion and I don't care what anyone else thinks kind of attitude. But at the same time, I don't block my ears um, to like you say, valid criticisms. And like you said, we can learn from them. I mean, but my thing is that yeah, if somebody's not gonna like what I do anyway, then hell the hell with them. But that's not what critiquing is actually about. It's an honest critique should actually have the highs and lows. The good point is
I think that's a review. A review is the
ah
highs and the lows. A critique is someone who is critical. So for me, a good critic is solely or almost solely looking at the negatives. But
for
I
sure.
don't go to any critic. I will go to a critic I know. So this is a
Yeah,
character, a
yeah,
personality. This is a celebrity that I'm familiar with. I know the kind of games they like. So when they say I don't like JRPGs, like Yahtzee Croshaw, I like Zero Punctuation, now
mm-hmm.
fully Ramblonic. Support Second Wind. But he has long been like not a fan of JRPGs. He's like, hey, I don't like JRPGs. They don't gel with me. I don't like the style. I don't like the stories. I don't like the gameplay. So when he comes up and goes, this is a JRPG and I love it, I will go, if you
Dude,
like this, then clearly it's so good it has changed your mind. Whereas if he's like, oh, I love this kind of game, and this one's, yeah, it's all right. Oh, well. But that's
yes.
because I know this character. I'm not just going reading the paper with some stranger out of nowhere. I'm
Mm.
going to someone for their opinion on this. It's
And
something
that
I've built up over time. And that's why I think a critic is not inherently a bad thing, but it is someone you have to stick with. You have
and
to
that's
get to know them.
yeah, mate. And that's what commenters say that they like about you actually, because they know what games that you used to let the people know that you like RPGs. You like yeah RTS.
Oh, yeah, I like RTSs. I like, for me, it's RPGs, Metroidvanias, and then there's a whole smattering of different things. But yeah, if I'm not playing an
Exactly. So
RPG,
okay, you're right.
I'm playing a Metroidvania.
Yes,
It's
and
pretty much,
it's the thing. It's a bit like again. Yes, exactly. It's a bit like what you said. It's about like the Gertzman thing we're talking about. I'm sorry, but I promise you I'll be just 2 more minutes, and we'll move on. Like Gertzman, I think the reason why people like to know the critic was one, their biases. So don't come to Gamer Dan with a beat 'em up game review necessarily. Necessarily,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a beat
Go to
'em up
you.
guy.
You're the
Yeah,
beam up guy. Yeah, I trust your opinion because you play them, you know them.
yeah,
I
or even yeah. That's it.
I
So that's
don't. I don't.
That's it. But the thing for exactly, and even Professor Suzuka, well, eventually, once we start getting her into, I want to get her into more Japanese reviews and so on. But once she does, she's definitely going to be the Pokemon girl. But there's more to what she can do as well.
Well, she's big into kind of monster collecting. It's not just Pokemon. Pokemon is
Yeah,
easily her favorite. She loves that game. She's big into it. But
mm,
she also quite likes Dragon's Quest and the Dragon Quest monster series, where you have to catch
yeah.
monsters and trade them. So,
I forgot about
and
that.
she also likes Monster Rancher, which is like a lesser known monster catching game. I think that she's big into the whole collecting the cute animal thing. Whether you want to lean in, whether you want to
Yeah,
take that
yeah.
as a stereotypical Japanese trait or not, it's your own thing. But
No,
no, but she's
it,
definitely an
well,
RPG slash monster collector. If it's a monster collecting game,
yeah.
she'll be right up her lane.
Right, and that's the thing. And so again with YouTube, when people feel that they can, again before YouTube, people used to write in angry letters to reviewers,
Oh
to
yeah.
the publishers. So I think people like reviewers that they feel that they can connect with. They know your biases, they know what you're about. And if you give a bad review of something that you like, they want to complain against the reviewer, and it's because that reviewer has become something of a spokesperson for the crowd. You've got the crowd, and then Gamer Dance gives his opinion. If people don't like it, then they'll critique. And it's just like I could leave a comment on a singer in my reaction videos, and people are angry with my reviews. Like, so okay, because like, why do you care what I think? But oh, of course, that's why you come to the video, because we have a following, and now people are going to want us to represent them. It's like this Michael Temple. He critiqued the Super Mario movie. In my opinion, his critique is rubbish. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "The game is broken because Peach's no." He said, "No, the movie's broken." He says Mario needs Peach to save him. I'm paraphrasing what he's saying, but I'm like, "No, dude, you're not listening. That's not what the Mario
Oh,
movie.
he's not the only one who said
It's not
it.
about this
Not the only one.
red pill stuff." Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, so whoever said that, they used to get like backlash from people, and he admitted he got bad. That those videos got bad. His review got bad reviews and bad views, and so I'm like, because you're not representing the fandom, and that's what reviews are. I misunderstood it before. It's not just some guy who wants to give it an F, or it's this supposed to be a spokesperson for the culture, and which we are now because we're part of the game culture, pop culture, and analysis community.
But I think people become fans because they connect with what you're trying to say. You have something you want to say, and people get what you're saying. So I'd hope that our fans, people out there, hey, out there in YouTube
Thanks for
land,
following us.
thank you. We love you for that. But they like our little ramblings. They like us going off on our sides and unzipping our head and pouring hot molten crazy out. So we talk about the pop culture and the video games of the day, and all the fun stuff we're doing. Yay! But occasionally we go off on a tangent, and we're like, yeah, that's funny, or that's dumb, and it just feels natural. It feels like I'd like to think that our little conversations feel like an actual conversation. Like you could have this in a bar or in a pub or somewhere.
That is it, mate. That is it. And so again, people, that's my last tangent for now. I just want to see one more trailer at the very least.
Yes,
But
okay,
I just-
right. So I would like to show the Perfect Dark trailer, but if we've only got one,
No, I think we can
It'll
do
be solid.
I had a cancellation of an appointment, so we can do maybe 3 if you want. We
Okay.
can pick-
In that case, let's go with some of the bigger titles then.
This looks gorgeous. Even the scrubbing through looks like
It's
oh,
good.
no.
Something
Nintendo,
amazing,
you
right?
better do
We're
something,
gonna
Nintendo.
we're gonna jump to Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Oh
Now
my
this
God.
is gonna be a big title. This is like
Nintendo,
a
you better do
landmark
something.
game.
Holy,
But-
wait, this can be on the next Nintendo console because this after
This
all is
can't be on the next
Can't?
console. This is too good.
Listen up, Jack.
Holy shoot! Now, Nintendo's what they're gonna do?
No Yask in the
He said-
Soviet mountains.
This is an Xbox PC game.
Back to the west.
If it's exclusive, then Nintendo.
It's almost a perfect representation of the original game, but it looks so
I'll be
good.
referring to you as Snake.
Holy
from now
shoot!
on.
Wait, that's the guy from Terminator?
The clock
No, it's not him. Oh no, that's the actor who is.
seeking mission.
Is he modeled after the actor who's acting him in the movie?
You must leave no
Kind
trace
Oh,
of.
is that movie cancelled now? Remember we were talking about it before. The guy who said he was going to play Snake and he's not doing it.
In other words,
Uh,
weapons and equipment to procure on
He's
site.
wearing a
It
hat.
goes for food as well.
Wow, look at that hat. That is so
What
Japanese.
name implies.
That's very Japanese. That's the Japanese touch, in my opinion.
I have to find my own
Something
weapons and
anime
equipment.
about that. Oh,
Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests
God damn, look at
in
this.
your hands.
Nintendo, you gotta do something. Do something. If Nintendo start getting a bunch of money from their theme parks, I recommend putting it back into consoles. And
Yeah. I'm not a big fidelity and graphics purist, but
Yes, you don't
occasionally.
need it, but come
Oh
on,
my god!
come on. You say what the hell?
I mean, I love
It
this
feels
game.
like-
I really love this
Oh
game.
my god! Every kid who watched action movies growing up, like you and I, we just wish that they were in that movie.
It's funny you mentioned that. Hideo Kojima basically grew up on American action movies. That's why his games are so cinematic.
Yeah, it's like, God, what is this? What is this? Oh my god, I'm gonna jump out. That's it. After this, I'm gonna go to the top floor of my apartment and no, I better not tempt fate. But I do feel like, yes! Doing a Jackie Chan leap over a building, full Parker style. Parkour.
I gotta say, as a Metal Gear Solid fan, I am so freaking excited. It looks so
just
good,
blown
and this
me
is
away,
a good
man.
game. But it's beautiful.
Dude, I'm blown away. It's excited, but I'm also kind of drooling. It's like, what the? It's just, come
It
on,
looks
come on.
like-
You and I, we grew up in action movies, right? Jackie Chan bloody movies, for God's sake. Even the Americana.
I can't
stuff.
tell you the story. I can't
just-
tell you the
come on,
context
look at that.
because spoilers. But I will say that if it
Yeah,
stays fake, because the visual story was amazing. It was a fantastic game. It was PlayStation 2 game. It looked great for the time period, but the story was so good. It was such a pivotal moment in the chronology, the history of the franchise. And it was important because that man would become a major player in the story of Metal Gear Solid. I just hope that they say the story is true. And at the end, it sounds like they've got the original voice actor. Either they're using the original voices or they've got him back to do the original voice actor again. In which case, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, so happy. Later versions, because they had David Hayter was the voice of Snake for 3 games, and the Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3 all had the same voice actor. But when I think the fourth or fifth one, they brought in Keith Sutherland. They brought in like a celebrity voice actor, and people were like,
Right.
no. The voice actor he is Solid Snake. Yeah, he's not physically acting, but his voice performance is as important, and it really lent a lot of weight to the importance of voice actors. And I think, more more than ever, we're showing more respect to voice actors. It is a performance. It's not the same as actual acting, and not every actor can do it. A lot of actors can emote themselves. Every actor can emote themselves because that's what acting is, but not everyone can do so only with their voice. That's a skill set. That's a
skill set.
trained skill. And David Hayter is just
Dude,
so good. So good. Seriously.
wait, is this the guy?
I have a guy
did
crush on him. I have like a guy crush on him. He is just so
I know what you're saying, mate. And was it you and I, dude? We had this chat with Saja. We haven't got to get back in touch with him. It's been a while. And we were talking about the voice actor for Snake got replaced, or the movie got cancelled. I got confused. Who is that? What's the name?
The David Hayter was the original, and then he was replaced with, I think, Keith Sutherland. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the guy from Terminator, because the actor in the first Terminator, the guy not John Connor, who was it? Who's the guy who came back in time? Michael something.
Crap.
Michael
We'll go with
Bennis?
Michael for now.
We'll go with Michael. If you can remember the name of both of the actor and the character of the guy, the time traveler in the Terminator, put it down in the comments, because I'm having a senior moment. But his picture, his visage, was used in the artwork for the first Metal Gear game. If you go back and you look at the cartridge image, it's that dude. It's the dude from Terminator. So the fact you made that connection, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's those little Easter eggs, mate, that people just live for in some cases.
Absolutely.
I gotta say,
we're gonna wrap up now with one last quick, short but punchy trailer. This is the new Doom. It's following along from Doom. We had Doom 2016, which admittedly, during its development, the company was quite hush-hush. And then when they released the game, a lot of people said it was going to be another stinker, like Doom 3. Doom 3 was not well received. And people thought that 2016 was going to be an absolute stinker because the company kept it really quiet. They didn't do a lot of announcements, a lot of shows, and they gave no preview copies out. So everyone assumed, oh yeah, this is what you do when you've got someone's messed the bed. But it was phenomenal. It was incredible. It was such a success that it revitalized the entire franchise. It went on for a massive sequel, Doom. What's the second one called? Eternal? The sequel to it. But now this one, check it out.
Hit me.
Oh.
No, I guess. Dude, I would eat popcorn just to watch that.
Seriously, you can watch. You could just watch people play that game.
Oh my god! Oh, here we go.
It was a weapon of gods and kings.
because of the drums.
Shotgun. It's not a Doom game without a shotgun.
This is so heavenly, man. The real the cinema. Wow. Skull in a shotgun.
Yeah, I love that. The chain gun is grinding up skulls and it's spraying bone shards. Oh, how metal is that? But check this out.
The best thing about this trailer is that it actually looks as scary as the game. The thrill factor. I remember when the first time I was like playing Doom as a kid, my palms are like whoa, it's drenched, and I was like terrified because you just feel like, oh, I gotta get caught. Because the fact that the trailer has the first person perspective, it's like, whoa! You see how I'm scared right now? It just, oh my god, this is something really just. I'm terrified. It's just because what makes Zoom so scary is that it's so close up to who is gonna kill you, and it's just it's even if GoldenEye you can shoot, you can snipe and so on, but Doom is always a case of you're getting close.
You were there. You were in the face of the demons.
And it's like it's scarier than just a like a I don't know as a soldier just coming after you from GoldenEye. This is a bloody monster. And it is. Maybe I played the game when I was too young or something, but I just traumatized from this game, man.
I'd say the first Dooms were great. I got frustrated with the difficulty as it spiked up, but I always enjoyed the cathartic speed of it.
Yeah,
but this is for those of you Doom purists out there, you will recognize this is the Dark Ages. In the lore, this is the period of Doom Guy becoming the Doom Slayer, because we pick up when he is already finished his training. He's become a great warrior, and he's taking the fight to hell. He was sent to hell, resurrected on Mars in the first game, and then in the second one we learned that he actually went to different planets. He went and fought in a war, then went into hell, got trapped by hell. So this is the period where he's actually in the war. The Dark Ages it's like a medieval version of Doom, with flying sections, giant robots, a shield, which feels so intuitive for him. Like, why did he never have a shield before? But then again, he had a blade on his hand, so I guess you have two weapons or a weapon and a shield. But I gotta say, look, I am stoked for this. I even like the Godzilla reference.
What was that?
Yeah, he's flying around, and then Dark Ages looks good. That's the killing move that Godzilla uses in the remake.
Ah.
At the end of the first mill, the Muto, the giant bug thing, he gets it, he goes and breathes his atomic breath down its throat. Boom.
Reference.
Godzilla reference.
That is fantastic and horrifying, man. What horrible.
Oh yeah, it's monstrous. But I gotta say, I am really looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Natalie, man. Oh my god. So again, all that's to say, I guess we could escape from the full screen, but the share screen. But damn. My God, people, I'm blown away. It's a game of that. Thanks, man. We really appreciate that because we're really Nintendo heavy, but we need to. It's a bit like because you know me, I'm into politics and all that stuff. I love to look at all sides. It's not good to just be locked into one and just not see what's going on the other.
Yeah, well, it's important to keep an eye on, especially this time of the year. We get a lot of announcements, a lot of new games, and everyone's vying for attention. Who's going to be the new player for this year? And it goes a long way. You know, people could say, oh, you know, it's just a bit of a grandstanding, but these showcases get people's attention. These showcases are what's going to sell consoles. People are like, watching. Even I'm giving second thoughts to buying an Xbox just because.
Dude,
the games. I'm like,
yeah. Dude, let me say. I gotta say this. This what you showed on the channel right today. This reminds us why people were ready to count Nintendo out after the Wii U, because Xbox were really saying, "Hey, man, we're getting ready to bring out some really cinematic." I mean, it makes sense why Shenmue went to the Xbox, even though Shenmue 2, you know, they first made it, because Shenmue was the game that was really it's very visionary in terms of making game very cinematic, and in terms of because it wasn't just a good old RPG, the fantastical style. It was very real life, and I was. Again, to me, it just blew me away. I know, again, it's a game for different strokes, different focus and all that, but I can't deny, I don't think anyone honestly can deny that it was very much a visionary in terms of bringing cinematic experiences into games. Of course, other games have been going into it at different angles, but the idea of the game experience becoming more immersive, more immersive. I personally, I remember that there's a point in my life when, I mean, that's when I decided to come to Japan, get the Shenmue game. I just decided to come here to pursue the industry. Now, I mean, now here we are. Xbox is saying, let's
You
bring
came to Japan
the
looking for
cinematic
sailors.
stuff up a notch. You said it right.
I am excited. It really is going to be good. Trouble is that, as we mentioned at the beginning, we are seeing such worse and worse practices done by larger companies. You know, Microsoft is buying out its competition. PlayStation is trying to entice PC gamers into buying their games and walling off their exclusives. Nintendo, please come out with some real positivity. We want some nice positivity.
We need Nintendo.
We need Nintendo. We need Nintendo to stay the way it is. I have been really concerned for the past couple of years because of the changing of the guard. We've had new CFOs, we've had new heads of the companies, and the company has made some really modern moves. Whereas before, it stayed true to being a game company. It stayed true to being part of its original culture, and it stayed pristine. Maybe they walled themselves off into a cute little garden and they were sitting there eating gummy bears, just kid stuff. Fine, but it was pure gaming experience, and the Switch showed that you can have a pure gaming experience. I just hope that they don't start making larger and larger moves towards more modern gaming culture, which is just microtransactions and pre-orders and all the other anti-consumer.
Yeah, dude, I feel you. Just like, to be a peak, as far as pop culture analysis is concerned, in politics, I'm talking too fast. And like with politics too, sometimes you gotta compromise. You can't stay in the past too much, even though it's good to be traditional, in some respect. You gotta know that. Yeah, but at the same time,
it's the difference between staying true to your core mission statement and just changing yourself up, adapting. I get that they're going to adapt, they're going to evolve. I mean, Nintendo's slowly but surely improving their technology. They're always going to be a step behind because they focus more on the games. I'd say the games, but also on the fun ways of playing, the toy aspect. It's interactive ways of playing. So it doesn't have to be visually impressive. It just has to be a great way to interact. It's also why we haven't got a lot of more modern versions of classic games, because they kind of got it right the first time. We haven't got any more Star Foxes because there haven't been any new ways to play. Same with F-Zero X. F-Zero X GC on the GameCube was quintessential. It was perfect. If you want to play F-Zero, it's the perfect F-Zero game. So that there's been no more sequels because there's nothing more they can do. And I respect the purity there, but maybe I'd like to see a little more. But I don't want them to go all the way and start doing all the kind of bad practices that other companies are doing.
I doubt it, and thankfully, I'm really sure that Nintendo's it's like with certain artists. I say that they tend to surprise me, but I'm always wondering to myself, I wonder what is. I'd love to work at Nintendo one day somehow, and but I wonder what it must be like. When I worked at people, I keep banging on about my game testing experience at Microsoft, but one day somebody apparently nicked some code as it goes. Then the management called us into a room and gave us his talking to. But the manager had some super stern face, and I was like, this guy looked like he's not playing with anybody. And I was like, I wonder, because I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of money on the line, but I wonder what it takes to be on Nintendo's inner circle to be privy to the next upcoming game. Maybe they take a blood oath. I will not take any secrets while catch it all burst into flames. But I was thinking, what kind of thought do they have in there to close off any leaks and to make sure that the next bit of technology doesn't get released to the public.
Historically, it was passion.
I'm just thinking that Nintendo,
you worked with a company and they were excited to make the game. They wanted to make the game. They wanted to keep it a secret because of their own volition. But then when you get companies that treat their employees poorly, they're going to start leaking. They don't care. They're disposable. Why should they care if they're disposable? treat your
Yeah,
employees
it's a bit like the
well.
you remember the
Have
story
passion
of the
for what you're
Xbox?
doing, but
Apparently, the
well,
guys have making it. Yeah, go on.
yeah, you're slowing down.
That is it, man. That is it. Dude, sorry to jump in. Just the internet chopped up a second. I was just
Yeah.
saying that apparently the story of the Xbox is behind the GameCube developers being fired from Nintendo, going to Microsoft to tell them they're making a GameCube. Microsoft said, "Let's make an Xbox." Did you hear that story?
It wouldn't surprise me because that's how we got the PlayStation.
Yeah,
Nintendo hired Sony to make them a disc-based
screwed them
device, and
over.
then decided, you know what, we'll stick with cartridges because they play faster. And Sony were like, screw it, we'll release this thing, and it
Yeah,
became their biggest competitor for a while.
that is it. So last thoughts. What do you think Nintendo's got in the bag?
Yeah, do you think, if you're watching this, if you come to the end of the video, bravo, well done. This
Yeah,
has been a
man.
hump of a video. But do you think the Nintendo Direct will have some big swings? Do you think they'll show off something impressive, maybe as a swan song to thank the Switch? Maybe as a way to keep attention, to try and boost those sales numbers so that they can get the number one spot of the top selling console? Or maybe just as a thank you for being with them for so long? Because this has been a long generation.
Yeah, man.
It used to be 5 years, now it's 7 years. We're looking at, it's pushing a decade at this point. And if it's not unrealistic to think that we'll get a generation every decade. And a lot of us are getting older. So,
I used to feel the way about the I felt the way about the Mario movie, for goodness sake. In terms of, it's like, come on, beat Frozen 2. Come on. Well, like, come on, it beat Frozen 1. Maybe that's enough. So like, it wasn't trying to beat it, but hey,
Frozen 2 had Frozen 1 to support it. Frozen 1 came out and became a massive success. When they announced Frozen 2, everyone was stoked for it. So,
yeah,
maybe Mario 2 could beat Frozen 2, but
yeah. I
not,
was gonna
not
say,
Mario 1.
yeah, I was gonna say, Game of That. What do you think? Do you think how long do you think it'll be until they make a Mario and Sonic movie together?
I don't know. Honestly, if you are interested in the movies, Arlo has a great, hypothetical. He creates a timeline of movies. What he thinks going to make. Like he thinks it's going to be like at least 3 Mario movies. We're going to get Mario 2 is going to heavily feature Yoshi. Spoilers. And then the third one, I don't know, maybe Wario. That could be fun. But by then, we could have a spin-off Peach movie. We could have a spin-off Wario and Waluigi movie. Link, maybe not. Maybe we'll get one movie and then give it a bit of a break because chaining Zelda games isn't a thing. Each Zelda is kind of their own separate game. But Animal Crossing and Metroid, there's a few games that could come out, really impress. But then, of course, once you've got a few of these movies out there, smash. They've already established that the tubes in the Mario game, go to different worlds. So if they go to different worlds, why not other character worlds? Boom, we've got Sonic. Boom, we've got Pit. Boom, we've got the Final Fantasy series. Wow.
I mean, for goodness sake, he's on Smash Brothers. I mean,
Yeah, he's in Smash. Sonic is in Smash. I don't think we're going to get a Mario Sonic movie, but I absolutely see Sonic being the number 2 in a Smash movie.
that would be killer. And dude, my God, I mean, if they hint at it, it'll be funny. If in the next Mario movie, one thing that drives up super excitement, if they just do a little peek at a Smash, just for even in some ways, like drop it in there, like
Yeah, all they'd have to do is hint to a
like Wreck-It
character.
Ralph, just kind of, and then take a
Exactly.
detour out of it.
Just do a little Wreck-It Ralph thing, just to have a little hint to characters who are not part of the Mario canon. Just establish that the pipes go to other worlds outside of Mario, outside of the Peach Kingdom and the established kingdoms. If you can do that, then that opens up all of it. All you have to do is just build, just layer. Do what they did with the MCU. Make good movies that stand on their own 2 feet, and then just layer in a few hints here and there. And then once you've got enough movies under your belt,
Yeah, mate.
it writes itself. Excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
excited.
it, dude. Well, that's it.
Well,
people.
here's hoping.
And the last one is like, yeah, here's hoping. I tell you. And last thing I think, I'm just thinking Nintendo's gonna have to lean into AI at some point, or I mean, no, not in a lazy do it for me way, but in a like Scratch, like programming where kids get to. I've been doing teach from Scratch where kids get to make gaming. Coding with Scratch is very simple. It's like Lego. You just build it, put this together, and press go. But I
Didn't they
think
do that with the Super Mario Builder, Super Mario Maker? They had, letting kids make levels, and then you
Yeah,
could have an
that's what I'm saying.
AI that would help them create a more interesting structure. As a
Yeah,
teaching
but
tool.
that's the thing. I think what will put Nintendo could put Nintendo apart is if they show a different way to use AI. The West is obsessed with replacing the people, or the warrior at least, with people with
Farmers.
AI. Yeah, exactly. What if Nintendo say? Because one thing I remember in NHK, one on an NHK show once, said by a robotics developer, Japan tend to see technology as friends more than in the West. The West, they think of technology as robots are trying to take over the world, but in Japan they see them as assistants. If you can create like Giru from Dragon Ball, some sort of a robot helper or Flubber as the robot creator's assistant. If you can create some sort of a companionship with it that is not trying to replace you, but is trying to actually
Rob the robot.
work with you, then yeah, exactly. We just may have something that
Hey,
can take
all
us
they need to
to
do is have a more
the
modern
next
version of Rob the
next
Robot.
chapter. But right now, I'm speculating.
Yeah. All they need to do is have a more modern version of Rob the Robot
As
as an automated, like a programmable, a codable player 2 for a game. And then you could teach kids through gameplay how to code and then just get that as part of the game. Right, with that,
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, people. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and we'll be back again with at some point. Please drop your people have been asking me forever about your next gameplays.
will do. I say it's a Steam Next Fest, so I've already started recording a bunch of demos, and I'm having a lot of fun actually. I'm happy, despite being sick. I've taken a little bit of time to play some games, and I am loving some of these new ones.
Thank goodness. I'm glad
Just
that
look out for.
yeah, your health comes first, mate. But I'm glad that you're still able to game and kick it. And
That's right.
the last question I got is, are you gonna drop that gameplay with Francisco or me or somebody at
Yes,
some
as
point?
soon as we can get something set up where we'll get it all, get it on. As soon as we have it, you'll have it.
Cheers, mate. All right. Without further ado, have a good one, people, and
Peace.
stay safe out there. It's raining here. See you.
See ya.
Peace.